It's Octember, everyone, and you know what that means. That's right, it's officially the month of dickeredness. And we'll start off right here. Oops! Look at that! Look at that! It looks like we have a blub. That one works, but not that kind. That's no good. So, strike one. The AC is off for the season, and it's also unplugged. Not just because it got cold out, but because it fucking died. Well, not exactly, but it did. The compressor still works, it still makes cold, but the fan crapped out. I'm going to have a much more in-depth video on that coming up in the future. The fan in the back of the unit that blows the hot air out took a shit and one of the blades sheared off. So that's all she wrote for this season. Next year I got to pull it back out of here and replace that, and I'm sure it's no small task. News is I do have a replacement blade that I ordered already. That was only 70 bucks. Kudos to Lexmarks567 for finding a flea bay auction on it. This is what it looks like. I think what happened is because the AC is about 14 years old, probably the plastic here broke where it attaches to the ring, and then maybe there was a stress crack or the plastic dried out or what have you. It looks like this is pretty well reinforced, which they may have done to because this problem was happening. I don't know. But anyway, the blade crapped out and the entire one of the blades fell off, fell to the bottom of the machine, and then jammed up against another one. So I came into the garage, found the compressor was running fine, but it was in a lot of heavy labor. The refrigerant was rushing around like mad, and there was absolutely no airflow. Again, there'll be a video to follow on that. Unlike last year, it appears that all of the bulbs outside are working because I just put them in what, May, June, July, something like that. Here are also good. The post light, so that's all good. These lights, so there's 3 sets of 3, so 9 CFL bulbs, and the only street light is down there at the corner. And the next one is like way down. You can see it down there. See if I could zoom in on that. Right there. These are of the LED persuasion. The carbonator in the Buick is being a little finicky. Sometimes it actually wants to work properly and other times it won't. It's not really a problem with getting it started, it's just that you never know exactly what you're going to get. I have to pump the shit out of it if it sits for 4 or 5 days, easily 10 pumps, turn the key, maybe it'll fire. If it doesn't, pump it some more. If it does fire, then it hadn't reset the choke, and then I gotta stay on the gas for a little bit to keep it running. Sometimes it will reset the choke and it'll go to high idle and start right up like it's supposed to. So you don't really find these things out until the weather, you know, gets chillier, which it has. So that's another one. And look at this. Oh, an error code 27, and it shows BAT, which means that the batteries in this thing are weak. I think they're A123s, so they're like $6 a piece or some shit like that. Every year in Octember, when it gets cold, that's when it happens. Every year. Only when it gets cold is when it happens. Another bulb out here in the bathroom on the right. I've obviously since replaced that because you kind of need that kind. I don't know if the camera does justice, but because the left one is an aged bulb as compared to the right one, which is the new bulb. The right one appears a little bit brighter than the left. It's not a big deal. I know it's just a burnt out light bulb, but I use real incandescents, and you can't get real incandescents anymore. You can only get make-believe 72 watts is really 100 watts. Not true, because in math 72 is not equal to 100, and wattage of course wasn't a true measure anyway. It was actually lumens, but they make the lumens so low to make it appear more efficient, and other bullshit number games, and fucking I just want my goddamn incandescent bulbs back. So that's yet another one. Two rodents. Psst. Psst. There's one. Two. Last but certainly not least is the boiler. That's not normal. This started leaking last year, mid-season or so. It was such a minor leak that I didn't even clean up what's on the floor. There's no water there now. It looks like there is, but there isn't. It's just residue from what did leak. It wasn't bad, but this boiler is pretty shot, and I got to change these gaskets. So this boiler was put in 1974. The gaskets on here were replaced 2 years ago, along with a brand new pump. This pump is still working, and the gaskets on it are shot. They're all hard and crumbly. They're just petrified. So, you know, it's 4 bolts, but they're all rusted in place. So that's a big pain in the dick. I gotta move all this shit out of the way so you can get in there to work on it. And the fill valve, which is this thing, there's no manual override on it, so I can't force more water than it wants to take into the boiler. So it doesn't take water, and whatever water it does take isn't enough, so I have to open up the drain and backfeed it from there. But as you can see, there's a cap on that, because that leaks, and it doesn't just drip, it like pisses. I've tightened the packing nut and done everything that you can do, but that's that. So I said, you know what, this is all getting really old and really out of hand. I want to see if I can keep the boiler limping along. So let me ask the Chatalian for the name of the plumber dick that did all his stuff. So I call him up and he comes over for an estimate. So he's going to change the gaskets and replace the fill valve. I said, what about the gaskets down there at the bottom by the drain valve? What about the drain valve itself? And what about the gaskets on the back of the boiler? He says, I'm not even going to touch that, because if any of those bolts break, that's going to be the end of the boiler probably. So I'm not going to be liable for that. So it's just going to stay and hope it doesn't break is basically it. So it's reached pretty much the end of the road. He came back to me with an estimate of $650 to replace 4 gaskets and a fucking fill valve. $650? Get the fuck out of here. So now I'm gonna have to break my back and break these fucking bolts off and do this shit myself and just pray that that shit doesn't start leaking down there. Backfill the boiler with the garden hose and a washing machine hose to connect the male to male, and it's a whole mess and a whole pain in the ass. I did it 2 years ago when I had to change that pump, and we'll see. I mean, if it doesn't do it, I'll just have to have an emergency boiler put in, you know, and just get it done, and it's going to cost too much, and that's that. I should just replace it now, but you know, you wait. It's going to be expensive. This Italian got his boiler put in for $8,900, something like that. That was a full conversion from oil to gas. This is gas already. And obviously you do the water heater at the same time. And the guy did say, he says, wow, I haven't seen this stuff. I used to install these when I was a kid. I said, yep. And he looked at the water heater. He says, holy shit, look at that. I said, yeah, they don't make them like that no more. He says, nope, they certainly don't. The water supply valve on for the boiler. I just shut it now. But even that, if you look, there's like no pressure in there. And I have no way of increasing that unless I hook up to the back to the drain. So, yeah, this is a huge fucking project. My back is going to be wrecked for like a month after that. I love it. So here we are with the month of dickeredness. I thought that maybe the plumber guy would come back and say 300, maybe even 4. I'd consider it. You know, just let it be his problem, let him do it. But no, 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 no. 650, fuck you, no discounts. You know, take it or leave it. And he still never gave me an estimate. But it's not all bad news, fortunately. There's a lot that, you know, I do have that is still working that isn't that much of a problem. You know, everything else is working, otherwise I would have mentioned it. And another good thing is I just got a call from Sedge Italian, and I found out one more thing to be happy about. I didn't shit my pants today. An hour away from home. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope your month of dickeredness isn't as dickered as mine is. And if shit is, and I know Emerson Colley, I know you're having some trouble with your RV there. So, yeah, apparently we all go through that kind. So if you're having a month of dickeredness too, why don't you go ahead and post a video. Make sure to leave a comment in here letting everybody know to check out your video. If you do post the link to it, it's probably going to go to spam, but I do check them every day, so I will make sure that that gets, you know, put up, you know, approved in that. So they'll go in there. And that's that. Anyways, thank you for watching. Make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, and I hope that your month of dickeredness isn't as dickered as mine. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. I just talked about the fucking thing, and now it's chirping. Didn't touch it. The temperature didn't get any colder. Just talked about it. And now it wants to chirp at me.